This video is the first in a series outlining how to use Activity Tracker, a feature within PCDART. This video will cover some of the basics of setting up and using Activity Tracker. Subsequent videos will go in more detail on how to use various features within Activity Tracker and how to interpret some of the numbers and answer specific questions. Activity Tracker is simply a tool that tracks activities that happen to cows. Things like breedings, things like calvings, health events throughout a cow's lactation or throughout a heifer's life. Each one of these is associated with a date when the activity occurred, a days in milk for a cow, or an age for a heifer. And using these pieces of information, we simply track and count when these things happen. Activity Tracker is designed to answer very specific questions. Users have the ability to hone down on very specific groups of cows in certain time frames by applying various filters and looking very specifically to answer specific questions. Activity Tracker is available, of course, only through PCDART, and it is a user interactive tool. The user really needs to have a question in mind before opening Activity Tracker. It is not the kind of tool where you simply open, print a report, and see what it tells you. You really need to have a question in mind before you can run Activity Tracker. A question such as, how many DAs have I had in the last month on my herd? How many dead cows did I have last week? How many cows were bred over the last month? And the list goes on and on and on. There's just a multitude of questions that can be answered with Activity Tracker, but the key is to have a good question that's well thought out before the process begins. So Activity Tracker, again, simply counts occurrences of activities. The three types of activities that the Activity Tracker can count are health events, chores, or protocols. So each activity, as I said earlier, is associated with a date and a days in milk on for heifers and age. And so the user is able to choose which animals when they want to look at and over what date range. So there's 6 basic components to setting up and using Activity Tracker in its simplest form. The user has to choose which animals to include, the date range, when they want to look at activities that occurred, how they want to display the table, what type of activities they want to choose, which activities specifically they want to include on the report, and then lastly any filters to narrow down the number of cows or which events over which time periods they may want to look at. So I'll quickly flip over to PCDART, and Activity Tracker is available from the Tracker menu within PCDART. And so opening Activity Tracker, those 6 areas on the preceding slide, I'll just go through one by one very quickly. The animals to choose are right up here with the lactation number. We can look at heifers, we can look at cows, and we can choose which parity of animals or which lactation group we want to look at. The date range is simply right here, and again, subsequent videos go through this in more detail, but the user chooses a date range for when the activities occurred. Next, the user needs to choose what report type they want to display. They can look at activities either by month or by days in milk, or if heifers are chosen, we can look at them by the age of the heifer. Again, subsequent videos cover this in more detail. Next, the user chooses activity type. The default setting is health activities, but if protocols and chores are desired, they can be selected and chosen as well. Next, the user gets to choose which activities and grabs those and grab the activities in question and move them to the right. The ones on the left are what's available in the herd's database. Those on the right are what will show up in the table. And again, subsequent videos go through in more detail. And then the user gets to choose which filters. The other tabs within Activity Tracker have a variety of filters, and the function of these filters are just simply to narrow down the activities or the date range or the cows with which we want to look at. So subsequent videos will go through all these different filters, how they work, how to recall some of these settings, what the table formats look like, and so forth. One note, once you open a table, there is an About button on the top right-hand corner of all the tables. If you choose that About button, it will tell you the version number of ActivityTracker that is running. That is a unique version, and it's not coupled to the PCDART version number, but this will tell you what version of ActivityTracker you're actually running. To update ActivityTracker, simply go to the internet and log on using your herd code in RAC for a dairy, or for a consultant, you should have an OTH number and a password, and just simply enter those numbers in, and you have access to the website. And from the website, find where the tracker series is listed. Depending on which, whether you're a producer or a consultant, the websites may look a little bit differently, but somewhere there should be a tracker series. And from there, you'll see all the trackers listed, and the video tutorials like you're viewing right now are listed. You can look at those here or on YouTube. Help documentations are available, written documentations, or this Get the Latest version. And so from the Get the Latest version, if I choose that, it will actually bring up another web page where I can simply grab the latest version of ActivityTracker and download it to my computer. It's simply a file called ActivityTracker.exe, and that file needs to reside in the PCDART directory. So this can be updated as frequently as needed. Whenever updates are made, the internet is updated, and the user can simply go on and grab. And for example, here is the ActivityTracker update. So if I want to download that file, ActivityTracker.exe, simply click on this link and put it in my PCDART window or PCDART folder off the root drive, the C drive, and it will update to the most current version. So again, subsequent videos will go through in much more detail how to use ActivityTracker, what the tables mean, what the filters mean, and how to use it in more detail.